This next video is on Section 7 of ISO 9001-2015 support, and there are some new tricky things in how they organize this section. All right, let's go to the PowerPoint. Okay, here are the 5 sections. 7.1, resources. 7.2, competence. 7.3, awareness. 7.4, communication. 7.5, heads up, documented information. Okay, so now let's break down the different sections and look at what's similar to the previous revision of the standard and what was added. 7.1, resources. There's a lot of things that are similar. I'm going to talk about what's been added. In general, they've added the capabilities of and constraints on existing resources need to be considered related to meeting lead times. Also consider what needs to be obtained from external providers. The second item is people. Most of the requirements from 2008 are included in this section. The third item is infrastructure. Same as before, but they added information and communication technology, so considering the IT interface. The next section is environment, similar to what we had before, but we have additional notes to include human and physical factors, considering social, psychological, and physical factors that can affect our ability to produce our product or service. Now here's a heads up. They put in the calibration requirement under this support section. They're calling it monitoring and measuring of resources. So calibration requirements will only be referenced in the production section. The detailed requirements for calibration are located here under support. And finally, there's a new requirement called organizational knowledge. How do we capture the organizational knowledge such that we have confidence that it's retained within the organization? That's here under support. Here's another slide on organizational knowledge. We're going to break down the requirements just to make us feel a little bit more comfortable. The standard says we need to determine the knowledge necessary for the operation of its processes and to achieve conformity of products and services. This knowledge shall be maintained and made available to the extent necessary. When addressing changing needs and trends, the organization shall consider its current knowledge and determine how to acquire or access the necessary additional knowledge. Let's go on to 7.2, competence. Many of the requirements from ISO 2008 are here. They removed reference to skills. We need to determine necessary competence, ensure competence is based on education, training, and experience, take actions to acquire competence, and evaluate the effectiveness of actions. Don't forget to evaluate the effectiveness of your training. Many of you haven't been doing this. We need to retain our documented information. Here's a note. Actions can include mentoring, reassignment, hiring, contracting competent persons, as well as training, but don't limit yourself to training. Let's take a look at the third requirement under support, awareness. You should be familiar with this one. We need to make sure that the employees are aware of the quality policy, objectives, contributions to the effectiveness of the quality management system, and then here's the new one, implications of not conforming with the quality management system. The next item is internal and external communication. This is number 4 under support. We need to define what will be communicated, when to communicate, with whom, how, and who communicates. It's a tricky one. So just take a hard look at it and see what applies to your organization and to your interfaces externally. Okay, the 5th item under support is documented information. This is going to be a little confusing. It combines the 2 sections of ISO 9001-2008 you're familiar with as 423, document control, and 424, record control. So instead, we've been seeing requirements throughout the standard for documented information and retained information. Retained information meaning what records are we maintaining. Let's look at what's required. Look for referenced requirements within the standard. We still need to define how we create and update our documents. How are they identified? What's the description? What's the format? What's the media? And when do we do review and approval? And how do we do review and approval? Remember, your format can now be software, graphics. It doesn't necessarily have to be a documented procedure or something on paper. The media can be paper or electronic. So this is our opportunity to identify that information is not necessarily controlled within a procedure. It could be within our ERP system. We just need to define what our documented information is and what is the media for controlling it. The third aspect of documented information is control of the documented information. We need to make sure it's available and suitable and that it's protected. We need to apply some risk management here for protection of this information. Same requirements: control distribution, access, retrieval, and use. Protect the storage and preservation. Make sure it's legible. Control the changes. Define what's getting retained and the disposition of the records when they're no longer needed. And finally, we need to understand which information of external origin needs to be controlled, and we need to control it appropriately. Okay, that's it for the support section of the standard. I know it was a little bit dry, but there are some new things that they snuck in that we probably need to take a second look at. So either re-review this video or go to the PowerPoint so that you think you understand it. Also, don't forget you should be reading the standard too, so that you have familiarity with it. That's it for now. On to the next video.